Welcome to NightCap, where politics and culture collided this week. And it's only Tuesday. But we usually say where politics and culture meet. But right now, we are just on collision courses. Tonight, we are unpacking Kamala Harris's Politics is Broken statement on Stephen Colbert, diving into the crisis of Black women's unemployment and debating this idea that's been rolling around in my mind, politics as culture versus real world participation. And we'll break that down, what I mean by that, and celebrating the new voices remixing this new America. I'm Dr. Nola Haynes, your favorite political scientist and host of Nightcap. So grab your beverage, put the Signal group chat and phone on Do Not Disturb, and let's get into your late night download of the real. This is Nightcap.
This is NightCap with Dr. Nola Haynes, streaming only on the Persist network.
You know, as I mentioned in the open, this has been a hell of a week. And one of my favorite people on the planet is the one person I wanted to talk to, not just about, VP, because we all know Reese with the receipts, y'all. Reese knows everything about Vice President Harris's record by memory. And she was the first person I thought about, not just talk about VP on Stephen Colbert, to also talk about Black women's unemployment and what that looks like and some of the drivers behind that. And Reese, in my opinion, I'm a little bit biased because that's my girl. She is definitely one of those new voices out there reshaping the political landscape. She brings a level of authenticity and intellectualism, that beautiful blend that is uniquely her. And so I'm just grateful she found the time to be able to come and spend a little time with her girls so we can unpack some of these really, really big things. And there she is. There's my friend Reese Colbert, y'all, the one and only.
Hey, Dr. Nola.
Welcome tonight.
Hey, Dr. Nola. Hey, Persist Network. Good to be with you, sis.
Good to be with you too. Oh my goodness, girl, there's a lot going on.
Yes,
It
it
is so much
is.
going
Okay.
on. And I know you are absolutely booked and busy. So first of all, congratulations on that. But let's just
Thank
kind of like
you.
let's dive right into this. I know you have
Yeah.
seen all the things about VP's appearance on Stephen Colbert, and
hmm
there was this moment when she said politics is broken, right? Um,
Mm.
I know that a lot of people were focusing on the fact that she says she's stepping away from politics. She just wants to be with the people. That could be coded in and of itself. We can get there. Um, but
hmm
what I want to talk to you about is when VP said politics is broken, she had a very different reaction from Americans and the world than when Corinne said it in her book. People
Yeah.
didn't seem to respond very positively to the former press secretary, but it seemed different
hmm
when Vice President Harris said it. So let's talk about that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, I think it was received well because she did kind of articulate what a lot of people are feeling in this moment. And I feel like what she articulated was not a politician's comment on it. It was um a private citizen's commentary on it. It was especially Black women coded, right?
Mhm.
With the sense of rejection that Black women felt in light of Vice President Kamala Harris losing to a degenerate criminal, ex-president who was impeached twice. And so I think that there was something relatable in what she was saying that resonated with a lot of people.
Mhm. Okay, so I think that's very interesting. So she's on this show, you know, pretty much a show for the people, right? It wasn't like an
Yeah.
MSNBC conversation or meet the press. She was on the couch,
hmm
unwinding, being herself, and so it landed a little differently.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. This was not a rally the troops kind of Kamala. It
Mhm.
was we down bad kind of Kamala. And I think that
Yeah.
there are people who want somebody to acknowledge that. I think that, it's an interesting lane to pick when Democrats want a fight. and I
Mhm.
think that fight is just losing even any kind of punch to it. Democrats want a resistance, Democrats want a fight, and that's why we see record low approval ratings from the
Mhm.
Democratic Party, not because the policies are bad necessarily, but because people want a forceful response to what's happening with Trump. So I thought it was an interesting choice to not try to occupy that lane that Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is occupying, that you have brilliant new leaders to the Congress, like Congresswoman Latifah Simon, you
Mhm.
have Ayanna Pressley, you have Congresswoman Sidney Kamlager Dove, you
Yeah.
have all of these people. I'm especially proud of my governor, Governor Westmore, and you have like Attorney General Letitia James.
Uh-huh.
You have Democrats throughout this country that are mounting a forceful response and are trying to rally the troops. And Vice President Kamala Harris didn't go that route. So I thought that was an interesting choice. But it's obviously one that she has conviction in. And so I think that people can at least appreciate that she's not trying to sugarcoat what she feels in this moment.
Mhm.
And for people who are just looking for somebody to speak to that, I think that she tapped into that feeling.
So, I wonder when the former press secretary, Corinne, when she came out with her book, I wonder if that hit
Mhm.
differently because I feel like in many ways she was kind of saying the same thing. Politics is broken. But I wonder because she went a step further to say that she was leaving the Democratic Party, is that what her backlash was about? Because to me, they are essentially saying the same thing. What do you think?
Well, I think what Corinne Jean Pierre was saying was that she was leaving the party and she kind of wanted to join forces with people who are tired of both parties.
Hmm.
And I think that that is something that Democrats have been very delusional about, and I think that they have staked multiple losing presidential campaigns on the idea that in the Trump political dominance, that there is this appetite, that there is this untapped into base of people that are disaffected Republicans that can join hands with
Hmm.
disaffected Democrats, and that's just not the case. So I think that when Democrats finally figure that out, then they can actually fix what's wrong with the Democratic Party, because I
Hmm.
think that's a big part of what's wrong. It's
Hmm.
thinking that there are all these never Trumpers and all of these Republicans that,
Hmm.
long for the days of bipartisanship. There isn't. And so I think that's kind of the difference between what Corinne Jean Pierre was saying as opposed to what Vice President Kamala Harris was saying. I think that, as a private citizen, what Kamala Harris did, what Vice President Kamala Harris did, was really authentic. It was really smart. As a potentially prospective presidential candidate, I think that it's risky, because it is choosing a lane of essentially saying it's broken. I don't know what y'all want me to do about it. I'm gonna go on tour. I'm gonna talk to people. I'm gonna sell my books. And that's all you going. That's the energy you getting from me right now. As
Hmm.
opposed to others, I listed off a half a dozen people that are fighting in this moment, and in years to come, will be able to point back to when everything is hitting the fan. They did something beyond just talk about how bad stuff is. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
I can relate to VP as a black woman, as a human being, and what how devastating it must have been, and how she's accurately calling how broken things are. But I worry, if she does have any intent of running in the future, she may not. She may just be done with it, and that's cool.
Hmm.
Um, but I do worry, as a person who's always supported her, what is the argument a couple years from now if she does decide to run? Because a lot of people still want to see her run.
Hmm.
There are people who were in the comments saying Kamala 2028.
Hmm.
And so I just wonder, is that, well, it's broken, it's messed up. What y'all want me to do? Energy going to play well
Hmm.
against people who have rolled up their sleeves and who said, yeah, the courts is against us, Donald Trump is against us, everything is against us, but people losing jobs, people need, people are losing healthcare, and we did something. So that's my only concern with
Mhm.
what I saw from Vice President Kamala Harris. But
Mhm.
maybe this is all moot because maybe she's done, But she said for now, and
Mhm.
she was kind of leaving her options open. And
Mhm.
so the leaving the options open part is the reason why I have to look at it from multiple lenses.
I agree. And I wonder if there was some kind of strategy. So I had been telling people, like, there were people who forcefully believed that she was going to run for governor. I always had the, I always felt she would run again in 28. And so
Yeah.
people, a lot of people were shocked when she said, keep that. I was not shocked about that. And then I also wonder, as a strategist, as you are too, you use the word risky. Yes. And I wonder if it's
Hmm.
also a risky strategy because she said she's going to go out and talk to people. The one thing, the
Yeah.
one major criticism that Dems consistently have is that you wait until the last minute to come knocking on people's doors because you want something, right? And
Yeah.
she's saying,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
going to go out there and spend time with the people. When I heard that, I was like, now that could be a very interesting strategy. She could say,
Yeah.
I was out there doing the work, boots on the ground, talking to the people, spending time with the people. So I'm curious, we're going to keep talking about this, but I'm curious if they're trying to
Yeah.
bake that into the pie as a strategy. That could be interesting to see and to watch going forward.
Well, I don't think listening is doing the work. I'm just gonna keep it real. That's my girl. But listening ain't busting the grape right now. I'm like, what's listening supposed to do? I'm
I was
homeless,
trying to help
Kamala Harris.
Vicky
Like,
when
what's
she
what?
said,
I'm just no, I love her. I love her, but
I
this is
know.
a political analysis show, and I'm gonna keep it real at all times. I've always kept it real with VP. I've always said, "Girl, what's going on? What's tea?" Listening is not busting a grape. People need actual, like,
In this
tangible, and
moment.
I think that's the problem.
Yeah.
And she did listening tours for reproductive rights.
Yeah.
When she was vice president, she did economic opportunity tour. She had DL Hughley with her. She had, I feel like I remember Steve Harvey, other people. She did tour after tour after tour. Now, I think that it's smart to do at least something to be out there. I'm not saying be at home, but I'm just saying that as a
Kicking the butt.
political strategy, as a
Mhm.
human strategy, people want to feel seen, people want to feel listened to, and I love that. And I think that people will welcome VP on her book tour with open arms, and there will be a sense of community around the feeling of, like, look at what we could have had. She
Mhm.
told us. And so I think, don't get me wrong, I think there is value in that. There is a lot of value in that. But
Mhm.
what I'm saying is,
Mhm.
if you want to be president again,
Yeah.
listening ain't busting a grape. And
Yeah.
people ain't gonna be able, I don't know how many brownie points you're gonna get for listening when you have other people who are resisting. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
one of the things that really brought VP to national attention and acclaim was the resistance, if you want to
Yes.
put it that way, or how I'm going to put it, questioning
Bill
Jeff
Barr.
Sessions.
Yep.
He was about to piss his pants. You know what I'm saying? The women's march was, I was at the women's march when she spoke.
Mhm.
So there was a visibility and there was a resistance that we saw forcefully from Democrats immediately when Trump was elected last time. There is a lot of value in that later on down the line. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying?
Mhm.
To be
Mhm.
able to say, well, this is what I did, and da 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 da, and people can
Mhm.
point to something that's forceful. And I
Mhm.
think that the people that want consoler in chief and they want 92%, those people you sat with. But the question is that pool of people going to be enough when you have the fighter lane and you have the resistance lane and you have the boots on the ground doing work kind of
Mhm.
lane?
You
And I
have
love
the
her. That's the
Texas
only reason why
Democrat.
I'm saying it.
You have the Texas Democrats like fleeing at the threat of fines and going to jail. That
You
that
have
was
Congresswoman LaMonica McIver. Remember, she
yep,
is still facing criminal charges for
criminal
doing her
charges.
job. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So when you, and I'm not saying she's not going to run for president, obviously, But what I'm saying is that
Yeah.
the fighter lane versus the talking lane.
Mhm. Mhm.
But
Yep.
maybe it's moot. And we just sister girl and having 92% meetups across the country and we just gonna talk, sip our tea and talk about how the world is burning. And if that's the case, I ain't mad at that either. I am not mad at that either.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, I like how you set that up. I mean, you definitely give nightcap viewers something to chat about and to talk about in terms of which lane are you occupying right now? You know, are you outside,
Yeah.
or are you just like outside on the porch pouring some tea? Like you said, chatting with the next door neighbor.
Yeah.
So no, that
Mhm.
thank you so much for that, for giving us a way to think about it, because that is what it's shaping up to be. It's what Americans
Yeah.
are saying they want to see from their politicians. Roll up your
Mhm.
sleeves, the
Yeah.
rhetoric and all the tough
Mhm.
talk, that's one thing. But
Mhm.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
So, okay,
Yeah.
well, thank
And
you so
Donald Trump, the last thing I'll say is Donald Trump has shown the power of doing,
Oh yeah.
which is jacked up. I mean, it's awful, right? But I was talking to a black MAGA Trump person, and one thing that's consistent in what attracts people to Trump is that he does stuff. It's bad, but people give him credit for the fact that he does stuff. And Democrats they have extraordinary accomplishments. I mean,
Mhm,
Obamacare, I mean, we were saved, rescued from a pandemic. The
mhm,
economy was rescued. We never went into a recession under Biden Harris. Now that chop, we about to be in a recession in
yeah,
probably the next quarter. Um, so the accomplishments are there, but then there are big things that they didn't do because of process, because of this, because of that, because of norms, and and my friend.
mhm,
And so when Democrats are disaffected, and I think that Democratic voters are weak and just annoying, and you gotta beg and plead with them compared to Republicans when you only need one thing to activate Republicans. You need 25 things to activate
yeah,
Democrats. You know what I'm saying? But
mhm,
one of the things that Donald Trump is showing is that you can do.
mhm,
And I
mhm,
think when I look at people who are recognizing that, the people who are talking in that manner in terms of going forward, I think of somebody like a Governor Westmore who was like, Donald Trump showed us what's possible. So guess what? When get back in charge, we going balls to the walls. He didn't say balls to the walls. I'm saying that, but I'm
mhm,
like, okay, that's the energy.
mhm,
That's what you need. You need people who are like, all right, cool. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. That's the kind of energy that people want to see from Dems, I think, in 2028. And I
mhm,
think they want to see that right now. And I just think that the whole idea of let's have these debates about Medicare for all versus public option, all that stuff is gone. People
yeah,
want action. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, the Democrats can't do a whole lot because they have a Republican trifecta.
yeah,
But all people know is that they want to see something done. They don't know
mm,
how it's supposed to be done, but they know they want to see something. And so I just think that is the the differentiator right
mm,
now in the Democratic Party.
mhm. Trump has definitely set the table for a new America, and he does just do. And one of the things that he did was to make anything about race under the category of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So that
Mhm.
kind of takes us to this really to the next topic, which is a big topic, which is something that is near and dear to my heart. Um, this massive problem of Black women unemployment, the way it is
Yeah.
wrapped around this horrific and destructive DEI narrative. Um,
Mhm.
that is one of the things, the doing that a lot of the MAGA folks like and appreciate, because they
Mhm.
enjoy demeaning any Black person they see to just being DEI. It doesn't matter who you
Right.
are, it doesn't matter what your receipts
Mhm.
are. None of that matters
Mhm.
because it is an outlet for their racism, it is an
Yeah.
outlet for their sexism, right? And so
Mhm.
he's
Mhm.
given them a coded way to say the N word without saying the N word, right? And then
Yeah.
on top of
Yeah.
that, not only just saying the N word, but saying he operationalized it. It's not just giving you the
Hmm.
freedom to call us the N word without saying it, but
Yeah.
we are being pushed out of jobs and not being welcomed into other sectors. So he operationalized the
Hmm.
racism. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts? Because I am
Yep.
pissed.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. DEI actually has been expanded so broadly to the point where if people think that black women are losing DEI chief diversity officers, we know that was going to the white ladies. That wasn't going to the black women. It was white women that was getting the chief diversity officer jobs, more than likely. But if people think that, oh, these are all just diversity jobs that black women are losing. No, these are from the federal workforce. These are from government contracts being canceled, Doge. These are from the tariffs and the fact that companies are shedding jobs, reorganizing the workforce. They're doing all of these realignments. And we know black people last in, first out when it
Mhm,
comes to jobs. Um, we don't have the cronyism, and we don't have the buddy buddy stuff. We go to work, we do our job, we go home. Not
mhm,
everybody, but most of us. That's our lens, is to just focus on the work, be professional.
mhm,
And so this administration has waged war on black economic advancement.
mhm,
For the people who thought that they were going to be race neutral, no, it was never about being neutral. It was always about eroding not only our citizenship, but our economic standing in the world. That's why one of the first things that Donald Trump did was he undid civil rights
mhm,
movement executive orders in the realm of business, in the realm of employment, and in the realm of government contracting and things like that, because he's trying to attack our economic advancement. And here's the thing: 60% of black households have black women as the breadwinner.
mhm,
So when you're attacking black women's employability, then you're attacking the black family, period.
mhm,
25% of black households have only a woman heading that household. And so often when we speak about, well, this is happening to black women, people's eyes glaze over like, well, that, as though that's not a black issue. Well, the statistics show that black women in our economic opportunity is a black community issue, because we keep our households together, and men, but the statistics show is a lot of us. It's a lot of
mhm,
our households that only have a woman in it, or even if there's a man there, the woman earns more. And so this is very deliberate,
mhm,
and it's going to continue. And for everybody, the MAGA people who got a kiki out of the idea of DEI being shed, well, the jobs reports are being revised, and this economy is shedding jobs. Instead of growing over 100,000 jobs per month, they're down compared to last year. They're down 15,000 jobs. What are they supposed to do with 15,000 jobs a month in this big ass country?
mhm,
So, it started with us, but we always knew. And I said it. I said, this isn't just a war on black people. This is a war on white people too. Because
mhm,
more white people in this country, by value, maybe not percentage wise, if you look at the percentage of this race that's da 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 da, but value wise, there's more of them on food stamps, on Medicaid, on all of these programs, on public housing than there is of us. So when jobs are shed, when all these programs are shed, it's going to hit white folks too. And now they're starting to see that.
absolutely. And there were two more additions to this broader picture of unemployment. So Black men got added to that 300,000 number, which brings it to almost close to 400,000. Okay. And then also last
Mm.
night,
Hmm.
I saw a report on this is the first time in American history where college graduates are having the hardest time finding unemployment. And it's something like close to 7%, where the overall average for the country, I think right now is at 4.2, 4.6. And for that demographic, it's
Mm,
at like 6.9 or something like that. So in
yeah.
as much as the president wants to fire statisticians, wants to throw people in jail for
Mm,
simply quoting a fact in a stat, that is not
mhm,
something that we
mhm.
are afraid to talk about here or any of the shows that we appear on, because we want to give people the facts. We want to have these tough conversations,
Yeah.
because while the First Amendment still exists in this country, you best believe
Yeah.
we gonna get it in until we can't get it in. You know what I'm saying? So that
Mhm,
like brings
mhm.
us to our next, conversation about. I've been talking a lot. I've been doing a lot of podcast interviews, and this one idea that I can't let go of. For a very long time, people have been talking about messaging, messaging, messaging. So
Yeah.
I am done with that conversation. I am moving on with my life. And the one thing that
Yeah.
I have been focusing on is, yeah, messaging, but. And what I mean by that is,
Yeah.
MAGA is a whole, y'all, MAGA is a whole ass lifestyle. Do you understand what I'm saying? A
Mhm. It
whole
is, honey. Yep.
lifestyle. It is an ideology. I mean, they like
Mhm.
together in a MAGA world, and that is their life. Democrats
Yeah.
vote and they
Yeah.
go home. It is a big
Mm.
difference when you are giving messaging to a group of people who's already bought into an overall ideology. That to me is
Right,
really
right.
one of the things that's the problem, because you're talking to voters who are just interested in voting, and that is a broad tent. We already know that the Dems are catering to a very broad tent. But how do you counter the culture aspect of MAGA, the ideological aspect of MAGA?
Mhm.
That's the thing for me that I think Dems haven't figured out. And I don't know if that's just a messaging problem. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, it's not just a messaging issue. It's an I've been saying this for years. It's an information infrastructure issue. Democrats, and I said this on my show on Saturday, the Reese Colbert show, in case people didn't know, that you could say Democrats, but you can also say people of conscience, billionaires of conscience. Let's be more specific, billionaires of conscience. Okay, um, the billionaires of depravity, of profit over humanity, they making it rain. Anybody that need money, you get 10 million, you get this, you get that. You need a new network, you need a podcast, you need a university, you need a
Mm-hmm.
think tank, boom. Make it rain, make it rain, make it rain. Democrats, on the other hand, hide your
Hmm.
money, all poor people around.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? They haven't opened up their checkbooks like that. Now they'll go to a gala and get dressed up, honey, and they'll have performers or whatever. They'll give out their little glass awards, child. Ooh, you get a glass award, you get a glass award, you get an acrylic award. But when it comes to the infrastructure building, and that's no shade. Okay, maybe a little bit of shade. But when it comes to the real infrastructure building, they ain't with that in a way that Republicans are. And
Mm-hmm.
so the reason why Republicans are indoctrinated is because they're invested in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not coincidental. That's not just, oh, I mean, I think that they're not intelligent. Most of them, I would say that. But they are targeted heavily and they are invested in. Their whims are invested in. The things that they want to hear are invested in. And
Yep.
Republicans don't just look for the most famous person.
Very
They'll
true.
pluck you out of, okay, what was Charlie Kirk? He was a high school person. He didn't even have a college degree, nothing like that. Okay, here you get some $1 million, boom.
Mm-hmm.
So Republicans are willing to build, they're willing to invest, and
Mm-hmm.
they're relentless about it. And they ain't looking for all the little metrics and stuff like that. They just like, you got a voice, boom, you get some money.
Mm-hmm.
And because they have that completely locked down,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to always have their side. But you do have a whole nother side that is not vote blue no matter who, but isn't hasn't been sucked in yet. So if they haven't been sucked into MAGA, they're gettable people. But
Mhm.
they have only been invested in terms of dissuasion campaigns, because that's the other aspect of Republicans. So they work on engaging and indoctrinating and investing in their people, and then they invest on dissuading the other
Mhm.
side. Okay, so you're not really susceptible to these messages, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure that you pissed off at Democrats all the time, or that you
Mhm.
pissed off at both parties, and so you just check out of the system. And so until Democrats are willing to invest in the infrastructure and not just in conferences or panels, and there's no shade, we need that too. It's all of the above. CPAC, they got their CPAC conferences and stuff. But I'm saying that Democrats have a limited imagination and limited willingness to invest in only very specific things. And you got to cut a big check, and they
Mhm.
don't want to do that. And so that's why we're always going to be playing catch up. That's why we're always going to be taking a knife to a gunfight, because Democrats have not been willing to recognize that this is not an organic war. This is not a war of ideas. This is a war of investment. And
Mhm.
they is sitting up here like a chicken shack compared to the Taj Mahal in terms of the investment.
Mhm.
So that's what I think is the real problem. And I don't
Mhm.
see it changing. I just don't see it changing. They should have been already working on this. We still ain't got a project 2028. We ain't got, we don't have an all hands on deck situation.
Mhm.
So as long as we continue down this path of just, well, hopefully somebody go viral and hopefully you get the talking
Mhm.
points and people like what you have to say, then we gonna still be looking at the Republicans like, well, why can't we match their energy? Why can't our messages get through? That's why.
Mhm. No, you make so many good points, and I always urge people, because sometimes a visual lesson resonates, and I always urge people to go and watch Black Klansman, especially at
Hmm.
the end of the movie when Spike Lee breaks down David Duke's long-term plan of basically upgrading the KKK. And what I mean by that is upgrading
Hmm.
the KKK. Bubba puts on a suit. Bubba runs for Congress. He runs to be a senator, working at a Fortune 500. So they changed their model a long time ago, and Democrats are playing
Mm.
catch up in a system, to your
Yep.
point, Reese, that has been being built and rebuilt. And let me tell you something, there's been a lot of failure with that infrastructure design, but they keep doing it over,
Oh yeah.
over, and over. They
Yep.
keep
Yep.
reinvesting in the youth. I mean, almost to a scary degree. Almost some of that stuff resembles like Hitler Youth kind of like, programs. Like seriously.
Oh
Um,
yeah. They got the red pill stuff. Uh-huh.
it's
Yep.
I mean, they have invested in this infrastructure that you're talking about, Reese, for a very long time. But because that problem exists of Democrats voting on issues and going home, because I mean, I'm not trying to really like wear my politics to the club. Like I'm just not. Like that's just kind of weird to me. But
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they have created this culture in a way that I agree with you, Reese, that
Hmm.
we could never catch up to. So then, what is the suggestion? As a strategist, what would you suggest? Um, if, say, you were sitting down talking to, like, if you were advising leader Jeffries, if you were to say, I don't think the infrastructure piece, that's not us. That ship has passed. What would your advice be? How would you attack this problem?
Well, no, I wouldn't say that the ship is past. I would say you should have got busy on it yesterday. But okay, today is the new day, so let's get busy on it right now. I would
Mhm.
say that you guys need guerrilla style warfare. I don't know why y'all so high and mighty. Y'all need some bots and some troll farms and all that kind of stuff. You have to invest in existing apparatuses that have credibility, but they don't have the investment. We're on Roland Martin Unfiltered. You guys have the Persist network. Urban View is a massive platform, 3 million listeners. Democrats want to come and talk to you for free. They don't want to invest in the way that, like I said, Republicans invest.
Mhm.
And so somebody at some point has to realize, like, okay, yeah, we behind a ball, but we gonna get started today. And it don't have to be perfect. And they have to stop this elitist idea of the only time worth is on a MSNBC and on CNN. A lot of people have gotten that memo. A lot of people have. So it's not that it's everybody in the party, but I'm saying that you have to have repeat cumulative engagement with people. You can't be one and done. You can't just only go to certain places. You have to be willing to go everywhere. You have to go back over and over and over and over again. And the most important thing is you got to put some money up. You know,
Mhm.
I sat down, I did a fireside chat with Leader Jeffries and Chair Ken Martin.
Mhm.
And this was, I don't know, maybe it was March. It was some months ago.
I
And
remember.
I said, okay, Chair Martin, where the ads at? Because I was watching, I want to say it might have been the Super Bowl or it was one of these big sporting events. And every other ad was Trump, Trump, Trump. I was like, oh my God, why are these Trump ads up? And I was like, but there's no counter to it. And we're still at the point where we ain't seeing no ads. So get out there and start putting some money up. I know that Democrats is mad because they spend $1 billion on the presidential
Yeah.
campaign. I'm sorry. But to your point, Nola, Republicans have spent more and lost more, and they kept spending. So we got to have that same attitude. We have to take this as though this is the most important thing that has to be done. And people got the money. People
Mhm.
got the money. They can do it.
Mhm.
But it's just a matter of, do you want to do it? Is it that serious to you?
Mhm.
And so far the answer seems to be not really.
Mhm. Mhm. Absolutely. Those are all great points because this is going to take money, and we both have some insights on some of the stuff that's going on in the background. And one of the things that I consistently hear, dim donors are pissed. Okay, y'all be pissed, but you got to get over it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you got to get over
Hmm.
it because
Yeah.
26, I bet you any amount of money, I know this will happen next year. This time we are going to say to each other, remember when we had that conversation that seemed like 5 minutes ago in 2025? It's going to be 2026 in 5 minutes. And
Yes.
I don't feel like
Yes.
things have started, if I'm being honest. Now, I don't want to take
No.
away from the
Girl.
gerrymandering fight on the ground, but in terms of like
Right.
rallying the troops, in terms of building that infrastructure, because I can
Hmm.
tell you at the Persist Network, trying to get people to invest in a network built by women for women, that seems to be an easy yes to me. But trying to get that cash is not
Right. It
as
should
easy
be.
as it should be, with the depth of talent
Yes.
that exists within the Persist ecosystem. But in this new America,
Hmm.
um, I remember when I was on MSNBC, when it was the pinnacle of where all the nerds wanted to be, and I say that as I'm a proud nerd, so I'm not that's no shade, like for
Yeah.
real. That was nerd heaven once
Yeah.
upon a time.
Yeah.
And I remember this was years ago. I think when you first started blowing up. And I remember I used to like watch her stuff all the time. And I used to tell my mom, I'm like, Mama, look at this woman. And I would tell other people, and like there were some folks, who were in the MSNBC nerd bubble who would be like, oh, she's just a fan of Kamala Harris. And I'm like, it seems to be a
Mhm.
little bit more than that, you know? And I remember one of the first things that I said to you when we met is how brave you are. And because
Thank you.
to me, Reese, honestly, you reset the table. You reset the
Thank
political
you.
and analysis table. So in this new America,
'Cause everybody cusses now. I remember when I was the
girl,
one cussing, everybody was calling me ghetto and all kind of stuff, and now
mhm,
everybody be calling Congress cuss. Everybody cuss. So
girl,
yeah, I'll
every
take a
time
little bit of credit for that. I'll take this much.
yeah, every time I talk to Stephen Horsford, I'm like, okay, what you about to say? Like, like because you,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
really have inserted this energy in the party, but you do it with a level of sophistication and wit and intellectualism that I love. And so, in this new
Thank
media
you.
scape, well, I mean it, like for real, you my shero. Um, we're
Oh, thank you.
when I talk a lot about new media and new voices. The last time you did the show, we talked about it, but I had tons of tech issues. But how do you see this kind of new media scape? Because we are kind of
Mhm.
still seeing some of the same talking heads out there, especially in my national security and foreign policy world. You still turn on corporate media, it's still kind of the same people, right? So
Yeah.
what are your
Yeah.
thoughts about
Yeah.
these new voices?
Well, first, to the people who said I was a fan, where your show at? Because I'm on Sirius XM.
That
This is
part.
my third year having a Reese Cover show.
That
But
part.
anyhow, as far as no media, here's the thing. I think that there is a democratization of media because people get to choose who they want to consume. You know what I'm saying? And so you put out authenticity, you put out your expertise, you put out facts, hopefully, and you will attract that. Like you have Dr. Nola and so many others, Elizabeth Booker Houston. You have I'm not gonna start naming people because it's gonna be too many people and I'm gonna leave people
Yeah.
out. But um my whole point is that the gatekeeping, that's dead. That's gone. Okay, sure, there's gatekeeping if you wanna be on the big networks or whatever, but at the end of the day, the people are the ones who determine who the voices are. Now, does that mean that you're gonna get the money that the people on the big is gonna get? Probably not, but the people are gonna be the ones who are going to say, they got it. That's who I'm listening to. And so when you have the ability to attract people and algorithms are against you and all kind of stuff, then you're going to be a part of the conversation. Now, you might hear your stuff parroted by other people. Okay, that's fine. That's called influence. But at the end of the day, I think we're living in a world where people know that they have options and they're seeking out those options and they're sticking with them as well, and we're seeing people who were the bigs. Now they got their own streaming or they got their own YouTube channel or the Substack or whatever the situation may be. So I think that there's a reordering of it that makes the playing field a little bit more level, and it makes it so that your lane and your niche is going to be what you can occupy unapologetically and successfully. And so whoever wants to look at you as whatever, I've been called that internet girl and I've been called that, and those people ain't got shows no more. Those people don't see them on TV no more. And you
Mhm.
still see me. And so
Mhm.
whatever people want to put on you as a content creator or a TikToker or an internet person, or you just a whatever, 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 all that stuff don't matter
Mhm.
because the people are going to be the ones to say, I'm listening to you, and whatever you do, I'm rocking with you, and whatever you're doing, I'm going to support.
Absolutely. That is a great place to kind of segue into all the amazing ways that people can find you, from your Sirius XM Urban View show to us being on Roland Martin every Thursday night. It's the latest night of the week. So tell the people how we can find you the day of the show,
Period.
all the things. So how can we find you, Reese Colbert?
So yes, thank you, Dr. Nola Haynes, for having me in the Persist Network. You can follow me, Reese Colbert, on all of my socials. ReeseColbert.com is my website. My YouTube channel is Black Women Views. The Reese Colbert Show is on Sirius XM Urban View. 3 years running.
Hey.
But it's a live call-in show. Dr. Nola graces my show from time to time as well. It's 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern. I'm on Clay Kane's show Tuesdays and Thursdays. That his show is daily on Urban View Series XM channel 126. And then, as Dr. Nola said, we are on Roland Martin Unfiltered on Thursdays. So plenty of ways to check your girl out. Thank
And
you, Nola, for having me.
let's talk about that tour real quick. I thought you were gonna pitch the tour. We got to tell people you and Clay out there on tour, honey. It's great.
Oh,
I've seen it.
well, speaking of Clay, I gotta run to Clay in like 1 minute. But
Okay.
okay, but so edit that little part out. Okay, and the last thing I would, if I can't neglect to mention, well, two things. Number one, I have a card game. I have two card games actually. Am I tripping? Which you can get on amitrippinggame.com. It's the second edition. It's twice the fun. And I have a trivia game, Sounds About Right is my game. You can get both at amitrippinggame.com. And then Clay Kane and I, New York Times bestseller Clay Kane and I, are on tour. We have a sold out show in Chicago. That's our first stop, but we have tickets available for Atlanta, Philadelphia and for Houston. So it's Clay and Reese live.eventbrite.com. So check us out live in tour. It's called Beyond the Mic. It's our third year doing it, and we have such a fantastic time.
Thank you, Fran. You are booked, beautiful, and busy, honey. Kiss that beautiful family of yours. And thank you so much for your time. And we will talk again, friend.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye. Goodness, I always love talking to my girl, Reese, because, I wasn't just like blowing smoke, y'all. Like, Reese is one of those unique individuals where she gonna keep it a buck. She's gonna keep it 100 all the way, but she's going to offer that critical analysis. And that's the thing that people need to understand. Just because someone doesn't speak the way you think that they should, whatever that may mean, it doesn't necessarily negate what they are saying, right? And one of the things that Democrats have in spades are people with very big brains. But one of the things we do not have in spades are people who can just talk to other people, where things can land and where things can resonate. So I really appreciate Reese Colbert joining us today. I love being on her show, the Reese Colbert Show. Either talking about something uh, foreign policy related, or just hanging out with her for an hour or 2 hours on the whole show. And she gave you all of her ads where you can find her. So this was another week of Nightcap, where politics meets culture. Well, lately it's been colliding, where politics and culture have been colliding. And if you all are enjoying the content that we're putting out, go to our Substack, go to our YouTube. So you can go to my Substack and my YouTube at Dr. Nola Haynes, and then also the Persist Network, YouTube and Substack at the Persist Network. We need you. We need you to help us build up the Persist Network, which is built by women for women. Now we have our guys in the background who also has our back, and they're helping us build this thing, but we are really trying to do something very special. So your support with your paid subscriberships on Substack will help us get us there. Helping us increase our followers on YouTube will help get us there. And I also want to give a very special shout out to Roland Martin. See, he didn't see this coming. As y'all know, if y'all watch Roland Martin, he always picking on me. All I do is open my mouth and then something, something, something. But I definitely want to give a very special shout out to Roland Martin Unfiltered. I've been doing the show for years, but this past year, I've been a regular guest every Thursday night with Reese Colbert and the very opinionated and brilliant Dr. Greg Carr. And I just want to say congratulations, Roland Martin Unfiltered, on all of your success. On the Forbes article, RMU is really the blueprint of how to do independent Black media. Not just RMU, but Roland Martin has been in the game for a very long time, building his own thing. And he has inspired many independent uh, digital news folks in this. Before this new America began to emerge, he was there. He was there building the infrastructure. So he really is the architect. And I am very grateful, even with our back and forth. I'm very grateful to be a part of that family. I am very grateful for the very dedicated fans and folks, who I see outside, who recognize me from my hair, my glasses, or whatever. Um, it's been an amazing and beautiful experience. So Roland, keep up the good work. Um, you are so important to this democratic project, and to the community. So I just wanted to give a shout out to RMU, and also to the folks that make RMU go. Carol, you are everything to many of us, and to all of my fellow panelists that I've shared screen time with over the years. You all are amazing and brilliant. So with that, it's another week of Nightcap. I'm gonna go ahead and end it here, y'all, because this went a lot longer than expected, but it's a lot of important things to talk about. So I'm Dr. Nola, your favorite political scientist, and join us again next week on Nightcap, where politics meets culture. Bye.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Persist on Substack, YouTube, and Instagram.